Stablecoins actually function on a Layer 1 basis. As you may know, Ethereum powers several circles. Additionally, if you look at the tech stack, you'll see that the farther you go down that layer, the higher the multiple should be for the business, since it really benefits from the various apps that sit on top of it. As a result, Ethereum ought to have a greater multiple if you are a staker and the yield is higher for the enterprise. In response, Sean Farrell remarked, if you look at Circle in relation to Layer 1, if you do the rough math, Ethereum would be very undervalued. Ethereum may therefore reach 10,000 or higher as a result. Then, if everyone realized at once that we would be tokenizing more assets, such as tokenized dollars that were worth 100 times EBITDA, how ought the blockchain to look? Therefore, each of them ought to be valued a lot more money. When we take into account what Tom Lee was just discussing, I believe that XRP is also incredibly undervalued because, like Ethereum, it has a ton of stablecoin adoption that is occurring on a massive scale and will be opening up to interoperability, which means it will be able to communicate with all the other blockchains in the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. However, Tom Lee will have a lot more amazing things to say. He essentially discusses the new gold rush and several of these Layer 1 cryptocurrencies, which, in his opinion, will occur based on what he has observed in the markets. And if you have any of these fantastic Layer 1 projects, I believe this is really fascinating and something you guys would be extremely interested in, such as XRP, HBAR, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, and numerous more that are in a unique and strong position to assume a significant portion of Layer 1 development in the tokenization of real-world assets, particularly those projects that concentrate on cross-border payments using tokenization of real-world assets. They stand to benefit greatly from much of what Tom Lee will discuss in today's video. I thus ask that you all listen carefully. In order for the entire XRP army to see this, hit the like button. Now let's hear what Tom Lee has to say. The audience is probably somewhat familiar with Ethereum, but I like it because it's a blockchain with programmable smart contracts. Correct. All right. That's quite a mouthful. The fact that stable coins are really taking off is, I would say, the main reason I kind of backed into Ethereum. Make a circle. Yes, $70 billion. The finest initial public offering in 5 years is Circle. That's right. Additionally, it trades at 100 times EBITDA. Additionally, it has performed for some money. Their year has been made. Whoa. It is the factor that placed them in the top 1%. Therefore, proof is like God-level stock in the old-fashioned Wall Street globe circle. Correct. Additionally, the cryptocurrency is steady. Stablecoins are the ChatGPT of cryptocurrency since they have truly become ubiquitous. However, this is proof that Wall Street is attempting to equitably use tokens. But the cryptocurrency community is tokenizing stocks because they tokenized $1. Isn't that right? And now you're observing yes. JP Morgan desires a stable coin of its own. Walmart Gold on Amazon. Well, stable currencies are a fantastic business strategy that benefit both customers and retailers. However, they must all function on a blockchain, with Ethereum hosting the majority of stable coin transactions. Ethereum has therefore been somewhat out of style. It was, it peaked a few years ago at about 5,000, and it was stuck at about 1,400 or 1,500. Although stable coins are now worth only $250 billion, it has returned to about 2,400. That's right. It accounts for 30% of Ethereum's fuel fees, while Ethereum mints almost 50% of all stable coin production. Treasury sector. Scott, he adores them. Yes. He adds that he believes the market is worth $2 trillion. A tenfold gain. Since stable coins as a whole rank 12th in terms of treasury holdings, the U.S. government needs more stable coins. Although stablecoin generation has increased tenfold, 80% of stablecoin usage occurs outside of the United States. Exponential increase in Ethereum's petrol fees. I believe that Wall Street's efforts to equitize cryptocurrency directly benefit Ethereum. Am I right? Am I right? And tokenizing equities with cryptocurrency. It literally occupies the center. Because of this, I believe Ethereum will be rediscovered, although its price has fundamentally lagged behind that of Bitcoin. What do you believe is preventing people from understanding that story? Because in my opinion, the world of cryptocurrency is a narratively driven one. All right, because trust is the foundation of it. Thus, trust and digital gold are the basic tenets of Bitcoin. However, I believe that programmable money is the current narrative. Therefore, it's possible that people are realizing that they want to be part of the largest network that offers programmable money in addition to programmable money itself. Ethereum is worth $300 billion. Thus, the smart contract blockchain is the biggest smart chain. That, I believe, is the reason Ethereum has the chance to completely change who you are. I can discuss why treasury businesses, which is what BMNR is, make sense, but I won't necessarily talk about BMNR specifically. Because someone will respond, oh well, why don't I just buy the ETF I want to bet on a theory? Alternatively, why don't I simply purchase it with custody or a chain? Yes, but keep in mind that a treasury corporation includes 5 crucial optional components. All right. Therefore, your holdings of Ethereum will remain constant whether you purchase an ETF or Ethereum on-chain, correct? For example, you have a contractual quantity of Ethereum when you purchase an ETF. That's right. Additionally, since they charge you money, it can be shrinks. And they declare that they will purchase 1 million Bitcoins on the open market. Bitcoin will be worth $1 million whether it is purchased in the US, the UK, or China. Whereas the US government would say, you can buy micro, the strategy is already 600,000 of this. It was less expensive than paying $1 million for each Bitcoin, and I'm willing to pay a 200% premium. That is referred to be a sovereign put. Guess what, though? Since Ethereum is a stake token, one of these treasury asset businesses would be extremely significant to the Ethereum ecosystem if they were to acquire 5% of ETH. Because Goldman Sachs, for example, wants to ensure that the Ethereum network is secure. If they develop a Goldman dollar that operates on Ethereum, their multiple should increase. Eventually, they will be purchasing a significant amount of Ethereum, correct? Correct. However, since the stake corporation already possesses it, it's possible that they will simply purchase it. The stake corporation is therefore correctly positioned on Wall Street. In just 7 minutes, Tom Lee made a fantastic point that, I believe, even he didn't understand. He said the gas fees for Ethereum will increase as more networks are used and stablecoins are used, which is a very evident trend in the institutional world at the moment. And certainly, in theory, this is fantastic for Ethereum stakers and holders right now. But you must consider this. Don't you, Ben? If Ethereum's fuel prices were anywhere close to what they were in 21, when sending a single transaction to post microtransactions or other types of transactions on the stablecoin ledger, they will not have any reason to use it. Would you spend $100 on a transaction when you could do it for almost nothing by simply tapping your card? Obviously not. Correct. Therefore, Ethereum isn't the end-all be-all, even though it's a good technology and was among the first to introduce smart contracts in a very scalable fashion. Better blockchains with more advanced technology are now available that can do Ethereum's functions much better, more affordably, and with far greater scalability.